Briefing. In December 2023, former New York Times editor James Bennet published an article in The Economist, pointing out that the New York Times is losing its principles and exhibiting widespread biased reporting. This has sparked extensive discussions on media bias. As an economist, I collaborated with colleagues on an experiment analyzing 100,000 articles from the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal, as well as 22 million tweets, to identify factors influencing the exposure time of articles on digital homepages. We found that supply-side political preferences are a significant factor, meaning that media organizations highlight articles based on their political leanings rather than solely on reader demand. This indicates that media bias is not only driven by reader demand but also reflects the media's own ideological orientation. Understanding how competition in the media industry affects bias is crucial. If bias primarily stems from the supply side, increasing competition may serve as a corrective measure. However, if bias mainly arises from the demand side, competition might exacerbate the issue, as media would cater more aggressively to specific audience preferences. Overall, this research reveals the complexity of media bias and provides new insights into understanding the current media landscape and its impact on public opinion. Briefing content. 1. New research suggests that the interbreeding of modern humans and Neanderthals may have occurred more recently than previously thought, around 47,000 years ago. Genomic analysis and skeletal fossil evidence support this conclusion. 2. A study in the United States found differences in the protective effects of COVID-19 vaccines within 6 months of vaccination. Neutralizing antibody levels were significantly higher in women and non-smokers compared to men and smokers, with antibody levels in smokers being 240% lower than in non-smokers. 3. Judge Matthew Kaczmarek of the Northern District of Texas concealed stock holdings in a private company outside Texas during his financial disclosures in 2020 and 2021. This company accounts for over 85% of his personal wealth. Experts believe this constitutes a conflict of interest, and the public has a right to know this information. Overall, these articles cover recent research developments in human evolutionary history, vaccine efficacy differences, and judicial conflicts of interest, providing new insights and revelations in their respective fields. Briefing. December 23, 2024. Subject: National Geographic Magazine. Article summary. 1. Exercising during pregnancy can reduce the risk of asthma in children. Research found that pregnant women who exercise 3 or more times a week reduce their children's risk of asthma by nearly half. This is the first discovery linking prenatal exercise to asthma prevention. 2. Cats prefer interacting with humans over food. Research shows that most cats favor human interaction over food, toys, or sense stimuli, contradicting the common belief that cats are untrainable and unsociable. Researchers state that cat behavior can be improved through proper training methods. 3. Cat emotions are difficult to recognize. Research indicates that most cat owners cannot identify changes in their cat's emotional signals, while dog owners have a richer understanding of dog behavior. Scientists are working to decode cat vocalizations to better understand their emotions and needs. 4. Cats are highly independent. Research shows that unlike dogs, cats tend to attempt to solve problems independently rather than seeking human help, reflecting their independent nature. Overall, these studies reveal unique behavioral traits of cats, such as difficulty in emotional recognition and strong independence, providing new perspectives for improving human-cat relationships. Additionally, these studies indicate that our understanding of cats still requires further exploration. 2024 Forbes World's Most Influential Women list released. The 2024 Forbes list of the world's most influential women includes 100 women from various fields such as politics, business, and the arts, with a combined wealth of $33 trillion. Notably, this year's list reflects the setbacks faced by female leadership. The failure to elect the first female president in the U.S. and the ousting of female leaders in some countries highlight the fragility of female power. Forbes emphasizes that merely hoping for historical processes to automatically achieve gender equality is insufficient, more support and effort are needed. The top 10 includes prominent figures such as Ursula von der Leyen, President of the European Commission, Christine Lagarde, President of the European Central Bank, and Giorgia Meloni, Prime Minister of Italy. Additionally, business leaders like Mary Barra, CEO of General Motors, and Abigail Johnson, CEO of Fidelity Investments, are also featured. In the music industry, Beyoncé and Taylor Swift rank 43rd and 34th respectively, continually expanding their business empires through global tours and strong fan bases. Oprah and Rihanna also made the list due to their successful careers. Moreover, 22-year-old WNBA star Caitlin Clark became the youngest person on this year's list, showcasing her significant role in advancing the league. Overall, this list brings together the most influential female elites globally, who have achieved remarkable accomplishments in their respective fields, setting an example for the next generation of female leaders. Despite the challenges faced by female power, their stories undoubtedly empower and inspire women. December 23, 2024 Briefing, Fortune Magazine. Fortune magazine published a series of reports on the 2016 U.S. presidential election this month. Key content includes: 1. Two individuals previously interviewed by WikiLeaks announced their candidacy for the Reform Party presidential nomination. A former Republican congressman commented on the Republican National Convention, and WikiLeaks interviewed a historic figure who spoke at the Democratic National Convention. 2. In July, Hillary Clinton met with the FBI to discuss her use of a private email server during her tenure as Secretary of State. Subsequently, FBI Director James Comey announced that no charges would be brought against Clinton, but noted her careless handling of State Department matters posed a risk of compromising national secrets. 3. At the Republican National Convention, Trump officially received the Republican presidential nomination and selected Mike Pence as his running mate. Some divisions arose during the convention, such as Ted Cruz's refusal to endorse Trump. 4. At the Democratic National Convention, Hillary Clinton officially received the Democratic presidential nomination, becoming the first woman to secure the nomination from a major party in U.S. history. Controversies also arose during the convention, including protests from Sanders supporters. 5. Additionally, the articles discuss the participation of two individuals previously interviewed by WikiLeaks in the Reform Party presidential nomination race, and a former Republican congressman's comments on Ted Cruz's speech at the Republican National Convention. In summary, these articles comprehensively report on key events of the 2016 U.S. presidential election, providing readers with rich information and unique perspectives. Briefing. On December 23, 2024, Bloomberg Businessweek reported the following. 1. Indiana Democrats continue to refuse to attend a Republican-led state legislature meeting, obstructing the passage of a controversial anti-union bill, which is a key legislative agenda for Republicans. 2. In 2011, Wisconsin passed a law limiting collective bargaining rights for public employees, sparking massive protests. Ohio subsequently passed a similar law, but it was rejected by voters. 3. Following Michael Jackson's death in 2009, sales of his songs and merchandise surged. Companies like Apple and Amazon saw significant increases in related sales. Various memorabilia have also been heavily promoted online since Jackson's passing. 4. The impact of Jackson's death resembles that of Elvis Presley, but experts believe this surge may only be temporary. Overall, this report covers various hot topics, including political struggles in Indiana, labor rights controversies across U.S. states, and the commercial effects following the death of a celebrity, providing rich and substantial content worth noting. Briefing. The internal mechanism of the coronavirus and its interaction with the human immune system. The article outlines the internal structure and infection process of the coronavirus, SARS-CoV-2, as well as how it responds to the human immune system. It also introduces some drugs and vaccine interventions currently under research. 1. Structure and infection process of the coronavirus. Viral particles consist of RNA genetic material, a lipid membrane, and various proteins, with spike proteins on the surface that can bind to the ACE2 receptors on human lung cells to enter the cells. Once inside the cells, the virus utilizes the host cell's mechanisms to replicate itself extensively, ultimately destroying the host cell and releasing new viral particles. 2. Immune system response and viral counterstrategies. In the early stages of infection, the innate immune system releases signaling molecules like interferons, attempting to prevent the virus from entering and replicating. The adaptive immune system subsequently produces neutralizing antibodies and T cells to further eliminate infected cells and viral particles. However, the virus can obstruct the immune response by masking spike proteins or interfering with interferon signaling. 3. Drug and vaccine interventions. Drugs can intervene at various stages of the virus's entry, replication, and release, aiding the immune system in clearing the infection. Vaccines expose the human immune system to a safe version of the virus, training it to produce antibodies and memory cells for a rapid response during actual infection. Overall, these studies provide in-depth insights into the internal mechanisms of the coronavirus, offering important evidence for developing effective treatments and preventive measures. Briefing. December 23, 2024. Latest reports from Nature Journal. 1. Particulate matter in the atmosphere can influence cloud formation and characteristics, necessitating its inclusion in weather and climate models. 2 papers discovered a new mechanism for particle formation in the upper troposphere. Plant-released isoprene reacts with hydroxyl radicals to form new rapidly growing particles. This expands the types and distributions of particles that need to be included in climate models. 2. A NASA study found a strong link between the rise in global average surface temperatures and the intensification of extreme hydrological events, floods and droughts. Between 2002 and 2021, 1,066 regions globally experienced extreme events of excessive or insufficient rainfall, with an increasing trend in the number and intensity of events since 2015. This indicates that as global warming continues, extreme wet and dry events will become more frequent, widespread, and severe. 3. Researchers state that this study provides a new perspective for humanity to begin comprehensively understanding the Earth's climate system, aiding in emergency planning, infrastructure development, agricultural practices, and water resource management in response to extreme weather events caused by climate change. Overall, these studies further reveal the profound impact of climate change on atmospheric processes and extreme weather events, providing scientific evidence for better addressing these challenges. Briefing content. 1. Young people's attention and involvement in major legal cases. 25-year-old Bliv has developed a strong interest in the trial of rapper Young Thug and participates in various ways. Bliv discusses the case on Discord channels with other fans and uses his legal knowledge to provide valuable information to the defense attorney. Bliv also shares updates on the case through his Twitter account ThuggerDaily, gaining significant attention and even being regarded as a lawyer by some attorneys and parties involved. 2. Thanksgiving from the Indigenous perspective. Lakota writer Larissa Fasthorse created the play Thanksgiving Play, satirizing how white people attempt to create a politically correct Thanksgiving performance. Fasthorse believes these attempts often fall flat and fail to genuinely reflect the history and current situation of Indigenous peoples. She hopes to convey deeper messages through the sugar-coated approach of theater. 3. New ways for creators to cope with stress. Writer Ayelet Waldman began learning sewing and quilt making in response to stressful news. This hands-on activity allows her to focus and temporarily escape anxiety. Neuroscience research has shown that certain brain activities can indeed relax individuals. Waldman discovered that even as a busy writer, she could find ample time to learn new skills, replacing ineffective pastimes like browsing the internet. Overall, these articles reflect young people's engagement with social issues, Indigenous artists' reflections on mainstream culture, and new ways for creators to cope with stress. These insights are worth noting and contemplating. December 23, 2024, Harvard Business Review Briefing. 1. Issues of banking board structure and term lengths come to the forefront. Last year's Silicon Valley Bank default highlighted the importance of board composition and term lengths. Among the 12 directors of Silicon Valley Bank, 5 had tenures of less than 3 years, with 3 serving for less than 12 months. Conversely, 7 had served for over 13 years, with no prior banking experience until Thomas King was appointed just months before the collapse. This has sparked reflections on the professionalism and independence of boards. 2. Businesses need to reshape their business models from a competitive perspective. Most executives believe that competing through business models is key to success, yet few truly grasp how to achieve this. A common mistake is that companies focus too much on innovating the business model itself while neglecting its interaction with the business models of other industry players. In fact, a company's business model's success largely depends on its relationship with competitors. Businesses need to design and optimize their business models from an industry-wide perspective, leveraging mechanisms like network effects to create difficult-to-replicate competitive advantages. 3. Achieving a value-driven transformation in the healthcare industry. The healthcare industry faces challenges of rising costs and inconsistent quality. Existing incremental reforms can no longer address fundamental issues. The industry needs to shift from a doctor-centered approach to a patient-centered one, focusing on the value patients receive rather than the volume of services and profits. This requires implementing 6 interrelated initiatives, including integrating healthcare services, measuring costs and outcomes, establishing bundled pricing, and expanding geographic coverage. Some pioneers, such as the Cleveland Clinic and Germany's Schön Klinik, have already achieved significant results. 4. Research findings from Harvard Business School Professor Joseph Fuller. Professor Joseph Fuller is a Harvard Business School professor and co-director of the school's Managing the Future of Work long-term project. His research covers important topics such as employment and income polarization, talent and economic competitiveness, and the impact of artificial intelligence on jobs. He also hosts the popular Managing the Future of Work podcast. Previously, Fuller co-founded and served as CEO of the Monitor Group consulting firm. 2024 Year-End Review, Transformations and Heritage in the Fashion Industry. 2024 has been an extraordinary year for the fashion industry. From the perspective of Vogue magazine, we reflect on significant changes in the fashion world over the past 25 years. 1. The birth of Style.com in 2000 marked the beginning of a new era in online fashion reporting. Senior Vogue editors Mark Holgate and Laird Borelli-Person share their unforgettable experiences working at Vogue and Condé Nast for 25 years. 2. The passing of legendary fashion editor Polly Mellon prompted reflections from Vera Wang. Mellon was not only Wang's mentor but also one of the most influential fashion figures of the 20th century, defining fashion with her unique aesthetic perspective. 3. The fashion industry has shifted from being the domain of a few elites to becoming more mainstream, with Mellon playing a key role in this transition. She brought fashion into the lives of ordinary people, serving as a bridge. 4. The fashion world has undergone unprecedented changes over the past 25 years, from the rise of the online era to shifts in consumer aesthetics. Vogue has witnessed and documented this journey. Editors reminisced about memorable moments, such as Helmut Lang's transition from fashion to art. Overall, the 2024 Fashion Retrospective showcases the industry's vibrant development and continuous innovation. As an authoritative fashion media outlet, Vogue has witnessed and propelled this process. The editor's reflections provide us with a deeper understanding of the evolution of the fashion industry. December 23, 2024 Briefing. 1. Queen Camilla's 3 favorite fashion designers, Anna Valentine, Fiona Clare, and Philip Treacy, have received royal recognition. This acknowledges their years of service to the royal family. 2. During her recent state visit to Qatar, Queen Camilla wore a red velvet gown designed by Fiona Clare, paired with a diamond coquettish crown and a necklace from the late Queen Elizabeth. 3. A power struggle has emerged within the Murdoch family, as patriarch Rupert Murdoch attempts to have his eldest son Lachlan succeed him, facing opposition from other children, ultimately resulting in failure. This family dispute exposes internal conflicts within the Murdoch family. 4. Trump plans to nominate his son-in-law Lara Trump to replace the Florida senator, raising concerns about nepotism. 5. Audemars Piguet hosted a women's leadership forum, inviting outstanding female entrepreneurs and athletes to discuss their experiences in leadership and work-life balance. 6. Beyoncé's sister Billie Eilish achieved new milestones in 2024, including topping Spotify charts with her album and winning an Oscar. She stated that her greatest achievement this year was making new friends. December 23, 2024 briefing. Rolling Stone magazine reports on the 2016 U.S. presidential election. Summary. 1. In July 2016, Hillary Clinton met with the FBI regarding the private email server issue, after which FBI Director Comey announced that no charges would be brought against Clinton. This drew criticism from Republican candidate Trump, who claimed that the whole system is rigged. 2. At the Republican National Convention, Trump officially received the Republican presidential nomination and selected Indiana Governor Pence as his running mate. Some divisions arose during the convention, such as Ted Cruz's failure to endorse Trump in his speech. 3. At the Democratic National Convention, Sanders supporters protested inside and outside the venue, but Clinton ultimately secured the Democratic presidential nomination and chose Virginia Senator Kaine as her running mate. 4. Two individuals previously interviewed by WikiLeaks, historian Darcy Richardson and businessman Rocky de la Fuente, announced their candidacies for the Reform Party's 2016 presidential nomination. 5. Former Congressman Tom Tancredo expressed disappointment with Ted Cruz's speech at the Republican National Convention, believing Cruz should have supported Trump for the greater good. 6. Human rights activist Sarah McBride spoke at the Democratic National Convention, becoming the first openly transgender person to address a major party's national convention. In summary, these articles comprehensively report on key moments of the 2016 U.S. presidential election, highlighting the significance of various figures and events, providing readers with thorough and objective information. Here is a briefing summarizing the content of multiple articles provided. December 23, 2024 briefing. Cryptocurrency market experiences good times. Main content. 1. The cryptocurrency market is currently experiencing good times. Bitcoin prices have reached an all-time high, exceeding $100,000, with other major cryptocurrencies also seeing significant increases. This is primarily attributed to the Trump administration's support for cryptocurrencies and improvements in the regulatory environment. 2. Trump has nominated cryptocurrency supporters to serve as Secretary of Commerce and Chair of the Securities and Exchange Commission, promising to establish a Bitcoin strategic reserve. Additionally, investment giant BlackRock has advised investors to allocate 2% of their assets to Bitcoin. 3. Despite Bitcoin's ongoing volatility and lack of intrinsic value, cryptocurrencies are gradually transitioning from being viewed as bubbles to blue-chip assets. The cryptocurrency industry is further integrating with the traditional financial system, and revolutionary promises are gradually fading. 4. For long-term Bitcoin bears, there may be feelings of regret. However, the value of cryptocurrencies is not solely derived from speculation but from collective recognition of their worth. Cryptocurrencies are becoming a reliable means of storing value. 5. Overall, with the support of the Trump administration, the cryptocurrency market is currently in a good time, but its high volatility still poses risks, and future trends need to be closely monitored. Briefing content. On December 23, 2024, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken stated in an interview with Foreign Affairs magazine that Hamas has shown increased willingness to advance ceasefire and hostage exchange agreements in recent weeks. He believes this is because Hamas realizes that no other countries will come to their rescue. Blinken pointed out that the U.S. has been committed from the outset to preventing the situation from escalating into a larger war, as this would not only lead to more casualties and destruction but also prolong the plight of Gaza. Through effective cooperation with Israel, the U.S. has successfully thwarted unprecedented attacks from Iran and helped Israel reach a ceasefire agreement with Lebanon, significantly weakening Hezbollah's power. All of this has put pressure on Hamas, creating possibilities for a final agreement. Regarding the long-term outlook in the Middle East, Blinken expressed confidence that normalization between Israel and Saudi Arabia is feasible, but Saudi Arabia insists that this must include the establishment of a Palestinian state. He believes that Israel's long-term security lies in integration with the region and establishing a common security framework to further isolate Iran. This requires normalization between Israel and Saudi Arabia, contingent upon achieving calm in Gaza and establishing a clear and conditional path for the creation of a Palestinian state. Overall, this interview addresses many important topics, including the situation in the Middle East, Israel-Saudi relations, and the Palestinian issue, reflecting the U.S. government's considerations and positions in its foreign policy. December 23, 2024 Briefing. Introduction to New Scientist magazine. New Scientist is an authoritative scientific journal with an editorial team composed of experienced science journalists who have a strong professional background in fields such as physics, materials science, and quantum technology. Main content summary. 1. Carmela Padavic-Callahan, an editor at New Scientist, holds a Ph.D. in theoretical condensed matter physics and atomic molecular optical physics. She has conducted research on disordered and quasi-periodic systems in ultracold atomic systems and has participated in art projects. Before joining New Scientist, Carmela taught physics and mathematics at Bard High School Early College in New York City. 2. Recent research indicates that interbreeding between Neanderthals and modern humans may have occurred later than previously thought, around 45,000 to 47,000 years ago. Through genomic analysis, scientists have determined the timeframe of this mixing process and found that Neanderthal genetic components have influenced various aspects of modern human traits, including skin pigmentation, immune response, and metabolism. 3. Phil Collins, the presidential candidate for the American Prohibition Party, was interviewed by WikiLeaks. He stated that if elected president, he would appoint individuals with extensive government experience to his cabinet and adopt a more constitutional leadership style. He also discussed the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on his campaign and how to address social media censorship. Overall, these articles cover the editorial team of New Scientist, the latest findings in human evolutionary research, and information related to the American Prohibition Party presidential candidate, providing readers with comprehensive and in-depth scientific reporting. Here is a briefing summarizing the main content of multiple articles provided. 2024 Smithsonian Institution Annual Review. In 2024, scientists at the Smithsonian Institution achieved significant results. 1. A new species of ceratopsian dinosaur, Lokiceratops rangiformis, was discovered and named, marking the largest ceratopsian dinosaur ever found. 2. The critically endangered Spix's macaw was successfully reintroduced into the wild, marking the first time this species has survived in the wild since the 1980s. 3. A coastal wetland carbon storage map was compiled, providing important evidence for the government to protect wetlands and reduce greenhouse gas emissions. 4. A significant discovery of substantial ice deposits on the surface of Mars was made, contributing to our understanding of Mars' ancient climate. 5. It was hypothesized that bioluminescence first originated in marine invertebrates around 540 million years ago. 6. The 25th anniversary of NASA's Chandra X-ray Observatory was celebrated, releasing 25 previously unpublished cosmic images. 7. A plan to establish a biological sample bank on the Moon was proposed to protect Earth's biodiversity. Overall, the Smithsonian Institution made remarkable scientific achievements in 2024 across various fields, including paleontology, ecological conservation, and astronomy, contributing significantly to humanity's scientific endeavors.